Good evening. I'm Scoot, and welcome to News Briefs tonight on Scoot on the Air YouTube. I appreciate you being with us. I hope you're a subscriber. If not, please subscribe. We'll be doing this on a nightly basis. And I guess this is kind of an unhinged, unplugged version of some news headlines. Right now in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, this is Minneapolis area, in the shadow of the trial of the police officer accused of killing George Floyd, there's a protest, and it's starting to get rowdy because it's past curfew, and this is involving the shooting of a 20-year-old black male, and its impact on this community. And this police officer who was responsible for the shooting, she mistook her gun for a taser, and she shot the guy and killed him. He died. How do you make that mistake? 26 years on the force, she made that mistake. Some mistakes are not tolerable. And that's one of the mistakes that you can't tolerate a mistake like that. I'm sure there will be charges filed against her. She has resigned, Kim Potter. And the police chief, Tim Gannon, has resigned as well. The city manager in Brooklyn Center was fired by the mayor, Mike Elliott. And so there's turmoil there, but we can't have this. I mean, we can't. On my radio show today on WWL, I had a lot of passionate callers for the second day in a row, and one guy identified himself as a young black male, and he's saying, I'm tired of hearing people tell us to comply, because there are people who comply and they get beaten up anyway. And he said, it happened to me. And he's right. Look, the ultimate goal is to comply with the police. Because if you don't comply, you're not going to win. Now, the police may be wrong in stopping you in the first place, but you may be dead if you don't comply. So comply with the police. If they're wrong, then you use the system of justice to get back at them. And here's what we're seeing in the Derek Chauvin trial. We're seeing a lot of police officers, including the police chief at the Minneapolis Police Department. We see the police chief and other police officers turning against one of their own, Derek Chauvin. They're exposing him for what he did. And they're saying he did not do his job properly. They're saying he abused his power. They're saying he did not need to kill George Floyd. They're not backing him up. And this is an important moment because the fear that a lot of people have is that police officers will protect each other. Well, you can't do that. You've got to expose the bad people in order to protect the image of the good people. And we have to have a good image between citizens and law enforcement. All right, let's get to a few headlines. And in the process, we're going to essentially expose hypocrisy here. So on my radio talk show today, I talked a little bit about Senator John Kennedy is a Republican senator from Louisiana. Now, he said he's going to fight like hell if President Biden tries to pack the Supreme Court. Now, I got some texts from listeners that said, no, Trump was not trying to pack the court, because I brought up Trump packing the court. No, Trump was not trying to pack the court. Biden is trying to pack the court. It's different. I think we're talking about semantics here. President Trump and Republicans were determined to make sure the Supreme Court had a conservative majority. And right now, it does. 6-3 conservative leaning compared to liberal leaning justices. So, goal achieved. Biden is considering, and I don't think he's going to do it, I think he's appeasing the progressives. One of the things that he's doing is talking about, well, a number of things, but one of the things he's talking about doing is expanding the number of justices in order to achieve a Democrat majority. So the end goal is the same. And I realize that technically Trump did not talk about packing the court, but packing the court essentially means, in a broader sense, it means getting a majority on your side. And so Trump packed the court with conservatives. And If Biden adds to it to try to pack the court to win a Democrat majority, well, that's what he's going to try to do. Or that's maybe something that he's going to try to do. The point is, they're both trying to pack the court. And right now, the court is packed with conservatives. Now, I don't think the Supreme Court should be changed. 9 justices. I don't think you start adding justices because you want to try and gain a majority. In fact, the whole damn thing should not be political. It should be about good law people, good judges, people who have the ability to interpret the law and apply it to the Constitution. That's what we need, not politics. But as you know, with everything else, politics comes into play. So a lot of times we get caught up in semantics. Again, Trump wasn't trying to pack the court. He was just trying to win the conservative majority. Biden's trying to pack the court. He's just trying to win the Democrat majority. What the hell's the difference? It's the same thing. Also, this new term, cancel culture. Republicans are brilliantly using cancel culture as a term used to instill fear in people that you're about to lose your culture. Cancel culture is nothing more than a boycott. There might be some nuances about a boycott that are a little different than the concept of cancel culture, but it's all the same thing. When conservatives are upset that Nike is using Colin Kaepernick, and they go on this social media campaign, ban Nike, don't buy Nike, Nike sucks. That's a boycott. Republicans say that when Democrats condemn Georgia for the new voting law and they take action dealing with money, that's cancel culture. What is the difference? It's essentially the same thing. We're dealing with semantics here. And so I think it's so sad that, our political pettiness is caught up in semantics. And I think this is a clear indication that we don't want to get along. Too many people are having too much fun arguing and debating. And they're having fun. It's almost as if it's a war game. It's kind of a war game. It's almost like a mental video game where they get to protect their side of politics. The right's protecting the right, the left's protecting the left. And there are extremes on both sides that don't speak for everybody. But this hypocrisy is it's so thick. It's so rich in America today. And the amazing thing is the hypocrites don't even notice it. They don't even see it. Joe Biden today announced that he plans to withdraw all U.S. troops from Afghanistan by September the 11th, which is the 20th anniversary of 9/11. How many Republicans are going to come out against this? How many of those same Republicans were for it when President Trump wanted to do it? This is just so obvious. This is all like a no-brainer. And it has become a game, a recreational sport. And I don't, again, I swear, I don't think it's going to change because people are having fun doing it. I'd like to see us all get along a lot better. But as a radio talk show host, somebody who's hosting social media, I guess I benefit from it. I mean, as long as they want to play the game, I'll play the game. But I'm also going to bring out the absurdity of all of this and the pettiness of our political differences. And it's true pettiness. Look, think about this. When New York Governor Andrew Cuomo was first accused of sexual harassment, what did Republicans say? Again, I'm generalizing here, not all Republicans, but a lot of Republicans said what? These women need to be listened to. You've got to believe these women. When it was Brett Kavanaugh, Trump's Supreme Court nominee, and he was accused of sexual harassment, what did Republicans say? The same types of Republicans said, well, any woman can say that. He's innocent until proven guilty. It's the same thing, but a different response. And Mitch McConnell is among the biggest hypocrites. Even Nikki Haley, former governor of South Carolina, who seems to be like a rising star in the Republican Party and maybe a contender in 2024. Nikki Haley, right after January the 6th, Nikki Haley is saying Trump went too far. He went too far. He shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have said what he said. He shouldn't have encouraged the crowd to do what they did. Now Nikki Haley is saying, I support President Trump, and I'll do whatever I can to help him get elected in 2024. Which is it? Senator Lindsey Graham was on the floor of Congress the day after, the night of January the 6th. I remember watching this, the night of January 6th. Lindsey Graham was on the floor saying, okay, I've had enough. Enough is enough. I'm done with this. I'm done with Trump. I'm done with all that. I don't remember his exact words, but basically he was done with it. This was a tipping point for him. Shortly after that, he's sucking up to Trump again. And he's on Air Force One going with Trump to the border. And that's another thing. When Trump was in office, Republicans said, look, there's some problems at the border, but it's not a crisis. Now that Biden is in office, it's a crisis. Look, I got to be honest with you. I think in both cases, it was a crisis. But we can't even agree on what's a crisis because we can't admit that our side is wrong. That's why I'm a registered independent. My mentality is that of a radical moderate. And, we're the people that decide elections. The moderate Democrats, the moderate Republicans, the independents, we're the ones that determine who becomes president of the United States, not the far right and the far left. There are not enough of them. It's political math. There are not enough of them on either side to decide who goes to the White House. We have the power. Now, we don't get as much attention because the others are making so much noise. But this is what I try to do on social media. It's Scoot on the Air YouTube, Scoot on the Air Instagram, and it's what I do on my radio show on WWL in New Orleans. And all you have to do to get the show is download the app Odyssey, Audacy, Odyssey, and type in WWL. I'm on the air 1 to 4 Central Time, Monday through Friday in the afternoon. And this is the kind of stuff we talk about. And I'm quick to point out the things that are bullshit. Because, we got to call it what it is. And people are just so anal retentive in protecting their side. It's all about tribal political territorialism. Territorialism. I guess that's a word. Yeah, right. they're being territorial with their politics. I'll phrase it that way. Hey, come on, this is live, not rehearsed. No teleprompters here or anything. So, but I love to talk about this, and I love to do. We're going to start doing the nightly news. We're going to start doing Scoot on the Air news briefs, and we'll also have a theme with them. And tonight's theme was just exposing the hypocrisy. And there will be other times when we will also expose the hypocrisy because it's there, and somebody needs to remind people how hypocritical they are. Because the hypocrisy defies the intellect, the collective intellect that we're supposed to have as an American society. But hey, as long as they want to play the game, I'll play the game. Join me tomorrow night just after 8:30 here on Scoot on the Air YouTube for another nightly news, unhinged, unplugged, and we'll have another update on what's going on with the disruptions and the unrest in Minnesota. And the other thing that we'll talk about is there a high-ranking CNN member, high-ranking CNN executive, who is now saying that he was trying to use CNN trying to use the cable network to defeat President Trump. And they say they did it. Is that wrong? We'll put that into perspective with what Fox News does tomorrow night on our nightly news update. I'm Scoot. Thank you for joining me here on Scoot on the Air YouTube.